that's a great way to look at it. Asking for help is already hard enough. Change your optics a little bit to realize we're almost going to be sort of kind of helping each other.
I'm doing you a favor.
Yeah.
I'm going to make you feel good about yourself.
Know. Yeah. Unload your problems on somebody and be like, you're welcome.
Welcome back to the show. There's no telling where we'll go. So come and share a laugh on the Imp and Skizz podcast.
All right, Skizz, I know you're a busy guy, but I'm going to need a little bit of your help today if you can spare the time.
What do you want from me?
I messed something up in my office. I tried to move my TV and I messed it up. I didn't measure properly. I need to move the whole thing down 12 inches. And it's heavy. And I just want to get the job done. So I was hoping after the podcast, after we're done recording, you have a little bit of time to help. I hate asking for help. I hate it. I know I'm asking for your time, which is the most valuable thing you possess.
Yeah.
But I can't do it on my own. The TV's freaking heavy.
You got it, man.
I'm heavy, man.
Happy to help. You're not, it's hard to, that's what we're talking about. Asking for that. By the way, this is true. You actually want my help.
I do need your help. I literally need your help.
I was like, that's a good lead in.
So let's make this podcast short. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
We got
a project.
Bye.
No.
Asking for help's hard.
It is.
And from little things to big things. It's interesting because I think this is a normal human thing for some reason, and not to everybody, but I think asking for help, like I said, whether it's something benign or it's something pretty serious, it's hard to do, man. And what's crazy about it is that it's something that we need to do. Mm-hmm. Humans have just done nothing on their own. Think of like the one thing a single person can do on their own. And when you dig down to it, it's like an author, the author of a book. That's a one person job. But nope, need an editor, need a publisher. It's everywhere. In order for anything to happen to be great, things need to happen. You need help, whether it's for a personal journey or it's something bigger than that. It's crazy how we just have this propensity to avoid. Let me tell you this. I hate asking for help. My whole life I've been like this, and I don't know what it is. I don't think I was ever wronged or asking for help. It's never been the case. I love giving help. When people ask for my help, I feel honored that they want me to be part of whatever the something is. And so I don't know. Do you think your whole life, you think you struggle with it?
I definitely have. I definitely have. Yeah. It's like even asking you to help me today, I felt terrible for, because I know you got stuff to do. I know, like we basically take our entire half of a Saturday to record the podcast, and our family misses us, it's our weekend. This is time. I've always allocated my weekends to be family time, so I feel terrible asking for more of your time, but you get to a certain point to where you're right. I literally couldn't accomplish this on my own. I can't lift the TV and get it hooked and stuff on my own. I maybe, but I risk a bunch of stuff, injury included, and breaking a nice TV. So you get to the point where it's like, I can't do this without you. I need to just suck it up. I need to, and I don't know if McBean, he went on a vacation, my neighbor, and he asked, he was a dog and a cat that was going to be left at home. Hey, can you come take care of him while I'm gone? I'm going to be gone for, a few days. And, I was happy to do so. You're right. Even though he might have felt bad asking for my time, I felt good in knowing that he trusted me enough to ask for something like that. Mm-hmm. And then whilst doing it, I also felt a bit of gratitude, I felt like I was also getting something out of it, mm-hmm. I'm actually a good human being. I'm doing something for someone other than me.
Actually.
Well, we talked about this, right? On the faults thing, I admitted that I feel like I'm sometimes a bit selfish or whatever. And so it's like, hey, I'm actually doing something for somebody else. And there's literally nothing in it for me other than that feeling good feeling of knowing that I did something good. But yeah, I mean, it's not easy.
No, it's not easy. And I don't know what that is. I really don't. Because I struggle with it. I just always have it. There's a time, this is going to a really silly example, but so you remember the old CRT TVs, right? Before flat screens. They had the
big old tube based
one. Tube, in case you know what we're talking about.
Cathode ray tube.
Is that what it is?
That's what CRT stands for. Something like that.
WKBW. So, I'm not gonna even dive into that. So there's we used to own a Sony CRT from a billion years ago.
Oh God, those were the heaviest.
There you go. There you go. There was something wrong with them.
They were like literally like they just stuffed lead bricks in them for some reason.
It made no sense. It's like okay, so I used to work at Costco, and for a while there, I worked in the electronics section, and I remember anytime somebody wanted one of those TVs, I was like, yeah, because it was always like 10 times heavier than any other TV. Yep. It was almost like Sony was like, here's the deal: the heavier, the better. For some weird reason, there's not more equipment in there. Why is this TV so heavy? I
literally think they stuffed it with lead bricks. I worked at Ultimate Electronics, and I worked on like in the warehouse part of it. So when somebody would buy something, I had to like get it from the back and bring it out to their cars and stuff, and like lift it up into the back of cars. Yeah. And I remember, dude, like that was when I started experiencing some serious back pain in my life. Like those things are heavy.
They're heavy. And I remember I had it was downstairs and I wanted to get it upstairs. And boy, I remember this.
Did you borrow a crane?
Dude, let me tell you something. This was a big Sony TV. It was not only just a 2-man job, it was going to be difficult for 2 dudes. It was one of those things, right? But I just didn't want to ask for help. I don't know what my deal is. I don't know what it is. I didn't want to ask for help. I think I wanted not to bother anybody. And then also I wanted to be able to finish the job and be like, I did that whole thing myself. This TV is stupid heavy. And so I had to get super like engineer. I remember I put it on a big heavy sheet of cardboard, and luckily my stairs at the time were carpeted stairs. And so that way I could slide it up, Bro, as I'm doing this, my self-preservation component of my brain's all, well done, dum-dum, you're going to die. Like if this thing starts to go, it's going to crush you. And I remember being underneath it and putting my shoulder into it and like, and push just a little bit and then grab onto like the next step in the banister and just push a little bit more. 45 minutes later, I got this thing all the way upstairs and I was like, what? Why did I do that? And I got it all the way into my room and I had to get up onto the stand. And that was, luckily I was pretty strong at the time. I was able to actually pick it up off the ground and barely and get it onto the stand. I remember my wife coming home being like, who helped you with this? I'm all, no one. You don't want her to be like, woo,
yeah,
woo,
wow, you're Captain America over here.
She's all, you're an idiot. It's just, I just struggle to ask for help. But when people ask me for help, I'm happy to help you put up your TV today. I'm happy to do it. Right. And you're the same way. And I think back when I was like a freshman in high school, I was really, really, really good in my algebra class. And there was a kid in a grade higher than me in that same class. And he was struggling a bit. And he was realizing that I was doing it very well, very well. And so professional
you have
podcaster.
Your phone in your pocket.
I forgot it was in my pocket. But good. Oh, it's important, dude. It's spam risk.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah. That's okay. We've been doing this for half a year.
That's the first time it's been in my pocket.
That's the first time. So I'll let it go.
That's my bad. I'm sorry. Anyways, so he was recognizing that this was, it was good. It was easy for me. The algebra was easy for me and I understood it. And he started asking for some help. And I wanted to help him. I wanted him to be better because he asked me for help. So I started to, and I realized I wasn't giving him the answers, but I was getting him to the answers quicker. Not only was he letting down his guard and asking for help, but he's like, wait. I want to know exactly how you do it. Like his thing was, he's like, you get this on a different level. I want to understand every step. I'm like, okay. So I remember being like, dude, now I'm just taking this dude under my wing. I'm going to make these tests easy on him. And so I was straight up tutoring this dude. Right. And next thing you know, I'm almost as invested in his test score as I was in mine. And watching his test scores go up made me feel good. Mm-hmm. So that was a testament that helping others feels good. Helping others is good. Why is asking for help so hard?
Yeah, that is a strong question right there. I don't think I have the answer for it. But I mean, I think the only thing, and I said it already, I think the only thing that I can think of is because what you're asking for when you're asking for help is typically somebody's time. And time is the most valuable thing they have. So it's like, would I ask you for $100? Like, that's not easy either. And that's not even the most valuable thing you have.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, in today's economy, it is, but no, I'm just kidding. No, but that's different. I mean, no, that's not different. You're right. That's the same. It would be uncomfortable asking. It would be uncomfortable asking even for money. And instead I'm asking for something even more valuable.
and that's your time.
Yeah.
So it does make sense on that level why people would struggle to ask for help. But I think you also brought home another point in that like human civilization really can't coexist without helping each other.
Yep.
So if it's that like innate in our species to need that, why is it difficult internally for us to still struggle to ask each other for help?
Yeah. I don't know, man. Dude, we got to get over that. It's funny is that sometimes I've had help. I've had to take people's help before in the past where I didn't ask for it. I just let myself get in a bad enough position where people were just like, dude, let me help. You know what I mean? You've been one of those people where I just struggle with something like on like some sort of install or some sort of problem or some sort of technical thing that you've had exposure to in the past. And I just spin. And then later it's like been 90 minutes. We've talked about this before and you help me. It takes you 5 minutes. You're like, what are you doing? Just get to me earlier. I'm like, I don't want to waste your time.
Yeah.
And I think, and there's also like independence is big. I think all of us want to be just good and self-sufficient and everything. Right. And so a long time ago, here's a good example. So my brother and I, my oldest brother and I have a really good dynamic in this world to where a long time ago, he fell on a financial time and he got real stuck and he had asked, can I, he needed to borrow some money. It wasn't a lot of money, but he needed to borrow some money. And it was one of those things where I was like, I knew for a fact he was going to be good for it. There was nothing to think about, but I could tell he's asking his younger brother, that's got to be hard. And I was like, absolutely, and so it was not easy to do, but I was in a place in that moment where I could give him a little bit of a buffer until his next payday or whatever. I think it was just to keep his lights on. And it was 2-3 weeks later, we're even Steven. You know what I mean? Just like that. Like 2 weeks later, he's like that he said what he was going to do and he did what he was going to say. And then you fast forward the clock and I'm ready to ask my wife to marry me. And I can't afford the ring I want to get her. And it was that'll humble you, and I was working full time, going to school, like several jobs. I couldn't afford the ring I wanted to get her. And that's going to hurt. And it wasn't even like a $50,000 ring or anything like that. It was actually like pretty decently priced. And I asked for his help and he's like, yeah, you bet. And so he did. And dude, everything I had was paying him back right away. And you fast forward the clock even more to when the housing market went just completely bonkers. And I just lost so much. You remember that debacle? And I needed to get out of where I was at. And I needed to get out of where I was at and I needed to get into a different home. And he's like, hey, listen, I'm thinking about buying a second house. If you can rent it from me. And I know what he's thinking, just rent it enough so that I break even. But I'm like, nope. I was like, whatever we're doing, you have to benefit from this. Like you have to benefit. He wanted to buy the house because he knew the housing market was going to come back. He was going to gain. We knew what was going to happen, right? Because that housing market dumped and we knew it was on its way back and that's a good time to buy. And it's like, no, you have to benefit more than just the hope that the housing market's coming back. And so we came up with a good plan. He was going to make more money every month so he was going to make money every month, which is good. And it was going to build towards impending balloon payment he had on another debt. And I remember being like, this is big. This is really big. And I said to my wife, I was like, listen, we will sell everything we own before we're late paying the rent. And she's like, I agree 100%. Like, this is one of those things like there's no chance. Like this is such a large amount of help and risk to give to somebody else. There's not a chance I'm ever going to allow him to second guess this decision. And so we were there for, 5 years maybe, and something like that. And it worked out for everybody. Like we were obviously never late and it helped him. He was able to make a good amount of money and hit that balloon payment. And once he sold, he would made the market had come back. And because he had set me up in a comfortable spot, I was able to do what I needed to do the house I'm in now. I mean, it just all worked out.
Dude, we had a very, very similar experience with that, the housing market. We had just bought this brand new house and paid like top dollar because at the time that's what was happening to them. And then like we blink and the next thing you know that like we're underwater big time. Like we owed way more on the mortgage than the house was worth. Yeah. And it was like, what do? We basically just lost hundreds of thousands of dollars because of the way the market crashed. And went and talked to a lawyer, and the lawyer was just like, look, you just got to short sell this thing, get out of it. And we're like, oh man, that's, it's going to take a credit hit and all this stuff. And he's like, you got to do it. You just got to do it. Otherwise you just throwing money away. And so my wife's parents agreed to purchase the house and rent it back to us so that we wouldn't even have to move. And so they bought my house for, the short sale price.
Yeah.
So the bank took the hit, which at the time was absolutely fine because the banks were the one that caused the problem anyway. So the bank took the hit. My credit took a little bit of a hit, but not like it could have been. It could have been way worse. And we just rented the house back for like 4 years, 5 years until credit was restored enough for me to be able to buy my next house because we wanted to move closer to where I worked. So basically my in-laws came in and saved the day, and it worked out. Like same thing with your brother. It worked out. Like the houses went back up where they were able to sell that house that they bought from short sale and make money on it. And they were too nice about it. Like they gave us like some of that profit, and like they basically kept enough to pay for like the taxes on it. And I'm like, come on, just I felt bad. I'm like, come on, just split it at least. Like take some. No, they didn't. They wanted to give us every bit that it earned as a down payment to our next house.
Wow,
like, way
that's
too nice.
Very generous.
So yeah, I mean, like
that's cool.
But we didn't, we needed help. Like we were so underwater that I was actually like really surprised when we went to talk to the lawyer that he suggested just to short sell. I was like, what? Isn't that really bad? And he's like, nope. This is the situation. You're not alone, obviously. And he suggested we do it, and it worked out so good. But we couldn't have done it without the help from my in-laws, my wife's parents.
Right.
You
need it sometimes. It's funny because I went through that whole debacle after you did. I remember because you were the one who gave me that lawyer's number.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt weird. The same thing. I felt weird about it. And because I'm like a Lannister. I pay my debts.
Right.
That's my gig. I pay my debts. And this was a point of pride. Like I'm not that guy that walks away from stuff. And he really made me feel he's a good dude. And I remember
funny.
He was funny, dude.
He was hilarious.
He was like, let me tell you something. he was like almost like I've heard this story. I'm not interested in your sob story. He was just like, and I told him, I was like, I feel bad about this. He's like, that's commendable. Nobody cares. And he's like, and I assure you this right now, the banks, they're going to be fine. He's like, and they are fine. They're already fine. They got bailed out. He's like, the government did a big bailout and for the banks and all that. He's like, you're just giving them more money that they already got back.
Yeah.
And he goes, so if you were my mom, I would literally steal your checkbook. Like that was his thing. He's like, you have to stop right now. Yeah. And he's like, and not to mention, he's like, they're so backed up because the whole thing is such a mess. And apparently where I was living at the time, because we weren't living in the same area where I was living in regards to short sales, he's like, yeah, that's the poster child for this story. Like it was this weird neighborhood. Not neighborhood, but like county, if you will. And I remember because I bought the house a billion years ago, bought it for like $160,000. No, I ended up I owed $180,000 on a house that I ended up having to like force to short sell for $80,000. $80,000, bro. Yeah. And this is a long time ago, right? Houses are a totally different story now. $80,000. And then about like 2 or 3 years go by. I'm like, dude, whoever got that got to steal. I got to see. Let me see where we're at. And I looked it up, dude. They ended up selling it for $60,000.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, what? This house is almost free. And I had it built. It was a beautiful home.
Yeah.
Remember?
It was. It was big.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you were like kind of on the outskirts of like the metropolitan area or whatever, but it was a very nice house. I remember that. I used to come over all the time. We were planning a business that we never launched. Remember? Oh,
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. They have it now. It's called Fiverr.
Yep. It's very similar. I've seen it. It's very similar.
That was our idea.
Yeah, that was back in the day. That we're not going to go. That's another whole story.
Yeah, decades ago, we designed Fiverr.
Yeah.
We weren't going to call it that. We were going to call it Create and Compete.
Yep, that's right.
Oh man,
that is, bro.
That's a whole nother story of our lives.
Have a venture launch podcast. We'll do that
We should do that. Yeah. Like all of our get rich quick schemes that we came up with and never followed through with.
Well, some of them we went the distance.
It wasn't. Yeah, that wasn't a get rich quick. That was a lot of like we got together every week for hours and like we're building business plans and and trying to like model out how the whole thing would play out.
Yep.
And then it was just too much.
It got to here's what's interesting, dude. It got to a point. So this is a beautiful tie-in, because I think if you try to like psychoanalyze why it's so very difficult to ask for help, is I think that you think you're almost putting yourself in debt to that person. And I don't know if this is the case, but when you ask for help and somebody does you a solid, you kind of feel like you owe them one. And that's not the worst thing in the world. But me personally, I like, you've known this. If there's a time that you and I, like, let's say I don't even know, we don't buy anything. I mean, we do this, but this all works out. But if we were to go out and I don't know, you bought something like the fantasy football. Let's say you paid the entry fee and I owe you $50, for example. I don't know. That's just an example. If I have restless nights of sleep until I've put $50 in cash in your hand.
Yeah, it really bugs you.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad, right? And now it's like,
I probably owe you $50 right now, and I don't even know.
Well, I mean, but I mean, back when like $50 was like a super big deal or whatever, right? Whatever, the number's irrelevant, but there's a couple things going on. If I have any sort of debt to somebody, specifically people, it eats me alive until I've paid them back for two reasons. One, being in debt eats me alive. Two, I have this fear I'm going to forget. I really do. I had a buddy who owed me like $150, $200 because we went out and did a ton of grocery shopping for this big camping trip or whatever. I was like, dude, I'll just pick it up. You can pay me back. I know for a fact he's good for it. I know he's good for it. So I bought everything. And then we had our trip or whatever. And like a week goes by, 2 weeks goes by, 3 weeks goes by. And I'm like, here's the thing. Now I'm in this weird spot because I know for a fact he would never leave me hanging intentionally, but I don't want to be the guy to bring it up. You know what I mean? And so when I did, it was like the worst feeling ever. I was like, yo, I'm seriously not pressing you. When do you think you might be able to settle up for the camping stuff? He's all, oh God. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then he was like, why did you wait so long to tell me? Like it was one of those things where I knew, and that's how I would have reacted. Right. But I don't want to ever put somebody in that difficult spot. So it's like, instead I'd rather just owe people nothing. And I think that has to do with the fear of asking for help. And because you're going to owe somebody. When we were starting that business, the Create and Compete business, it wasn't just you and me, it was you and me and two others. And we were doing our thing, and we got to a point where we had mapped out so much. We had figured out so much, so very much about the logistics of what we wanted to do. But we, all four of us, even though we had a lot of talent in that room, we hit a wall. Yeah. We hit a wall where it became to was like, none of us have the skill set for what's next. Right. And it was like, but we don't want to bring anybody else into this. So I don't want to owe anybody. I don't want to share this with anybody. I don't want to be in debt to anybody else. And because of that, what happened? It failed. The whole thing failed.
We never launched.
Nope.
And then years later, something else came along, and I was like, isn't that pretty much what we were designing? Yeah. It was a little bit different, but pretty close. Yeah. And now it's like super successful. And I'm like, yeah, that was my idea.
That was my idea.
As our friend would always say.
You know, that was crazy. That whole thing actually was my idea. Like I remember like it dawning on me one day when I was Googling something, like the whole premise was based on, it's basically a better Google is what it was, right? To for lack of a better phrase, you want to look at an elephant, you can look up an elephant. You want to look up a light, you can look up a light. But what you can't do is look up an elephant juggling lights, and on the side of the elephant is tattooed the word Skizzleman, and on his tail is Impulse actually is the tail. Like it's, you can't Google that. That doesn't exist. But this was going to create that because it was going to put the prompt out there and say, okay, world, do your thing, internet, and come back with a lot. You know, we found the way to bring incentive to the artist, to bring incentive to the judges, like all that. It was neat. Yeah. But the premise being that you type something in Google, it's not going to come back like this, but give it an hour and watch what happens, right? It was to use the power of the minds of the people leveraging the internet and the artists out there to come on back. And you're right. Now, I mean, Fiverr's similar, but it's different.
Yeah, well, you had a whole judging and competition aspect to it that Fiverr doesn't have. Fiverr, you need something, you go find somebody that can do it. You pay them for it, you commission them for it. Right. But it had that aspect
similar
too.
Energy. You know what I mean?
We may have overcomplicated things like we always do. We could have just created Fiverr and been good.
Maybe. You're probably right, but who knows? It doesn't matter. But that's the bottom line, is that business failed because we didn't want to bring anybody else. I mean, there's other reasons, but we didn't want to bring anybody else into it, you know, and that puts you in a bad spot when you're not willing to ask for help. And I think we're going to want to probably migrate this conversation into like it'll probably get a little bit deeper in regards to ask. There's a different level of what it is to ask for help, and we'll probably touch on that a little bit. But the bottom line is that if you have a propensity to avoid asking for help, everything in front of you is going to continue to be harder. It's going to be harder than it needs to be. And there's also a better way to, you ever realize this? You ever realize this? I've asked when I'm finally like, dude, Impulse, you got to show me, how'd you do this? How'd you set that up? You know what I mean? And then you go and you start to do it and it's fast. I'm like, stop. I want to learn. Teach me how to do it. Don't do it. I want to learn because I don't want to have to ask for help again.
You've always had that too, like that you want to understand like how the internals of something actually work. You know what I mean? Like if I gave you a watch, you would want to know like how the cogs are actually turning inside that make the hand go around and stuff. Like you really like to like figure out all the pieces and get all the information you can instead of just somebody just like giving you information.
Right. Because it's funny because it makes me, when I was about, I'd say 8, I had a rotary telephone. Okay, everybody listen up. If you don't know what a rotary telephone is, it's not a cell phone. It's an actual phone that it doesn't have push buttons, but it has a dial on it. So you dial. There's a video. Have you ever seen the video where this dad offers both his teenage kids, I'll give you $100 if you can call this number. He writes it down on that phone. It's the first time they'd ever seen a rotary phone. It's like the cutest thing in the world. These are teenagers and they're just like pushing the numbers and it's a dot and they're like, what is this? Oh, it moves. You know what I mean? So they're like, you literally do this dial and it took them a while. I'll just show you that video. It's a really good video. Anyways, I was a kid and I remember it was when it rang one day. And when it rang, I was like, how is it doing that? I have to know. Like, I have to know. And so I took the whole phone apart. Parents were thrilled. But
I bet
I took the whole phone apart.
I at least waited until something was broken to take it apart to look at it.
Well, actually, that's a good thing. Actually, you helped me out here because it wasn't like it was broken, but it was almost broken. The ringer didn't sound right. Okay. It was like the ringer was on its way.
You were going to fix it. You were going to fix it. Okay.
Yeah, I can fix it. So I open it and I'm looking and I see where it's literally, there's a literal metal bell inside with a hammer in between that goes, yeah. And I follow the cable that goes by and I'm looking at this like little weird circuitry board type thing, very, very archaic circuitry board. And I'm able to see that the cable that connects to that and goes to whatever, I don't know, the motor is fine, but the cable coming off the motor to the board was frayed or something not good. So I took it off and I remember I cleaned the lines and I like wrapped it and I put it back on and I was like, good now. And from that point on, rang perfectly. Put it back together and I felt amazing. But the problem is this, it wasn't my fix it thing necessarily. It's that I've surrendered this, by the way, but I came at this age to where when I had anything I was using and I didn't know how it was working, it made me feel helpless. It made me feel incompetent. It made me feel like remember we had a college professor who was like, technology is dumbing people. And it didn't mean that people are getting dumb. It just meant that people are being more and more removed from what's actually happening.
Yeah.
When you have somebody in a fast food restaurant that pushes a button in regards to from that button push all the way to the actual transaction, there's so much in between. So we can't really do it anymore, but it's all similar energy that okay, phone, I'm not going to just use you. I need to know how you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay, Impulse, thank you for your help. You can't just do it for me. I need to know what you just did. You know what I mean? I got to know it all. And so it's a burden.
No, you're right about what you're talking about though, because my youngest daughter, she did not want to learn the multiplication table, where you have the 1 to 10 and then across the top and the 1 to 10 down the bottom. And then it like fills out the entire, cross puzzle basically of all the different combinations of the multiplying the numbers together. She didn't want to learn it because she had a calculator in her pocket 24/7. Her phone had a built-in calculator. Why do I need to memorize this multiplication table when I have a device that can do that? I don't want to say any the audible helper devices right now. We could probably say a few different names and have our devices actually ask us verbally what we want, out of it right now. And I just realized I forgot to mute the one that's in the room, so I'm not going to say its name. But there's so many pieces of technology that could help us. So now we've moved from asking people to help us to just asking devices to help us. Like that's easier. It's because I'm not taking anyone's time.
That's right. That's right. It's so much easier. So you're right. If I ask her, is that Alexa?
Yeah.
If Alexa's right behind me. If I ask, if I say, and I say, hey, how do you do this or whatever? And then she tells me, I don't go, how do you know that? You know what I mean? I just surrendered it because you're right. I don't have any debt to her, I suppose. So now I think we've covered the fact that we're not super keen on asking for help, even when it's benign things, right? So let's talk a little bit more serious. There's more serious things. So I'm actually getting into, there's businesses centered around this, asking for help when you're having mental issues, when you're having like extreme doubts, when you're having problems, you're having those problems. This is when it's just like, dude, you gotta tuck aside all that ego. You gotta be willing to ask for help. And I'm a human, dude. I've had my hard times, you know what I mean? And boy, I tell you, I definitely don't know how to do it. I definitely, like when things go real. So you remember when I was younger, there was a period of time there when my life was in some pretty significant. Dark. It was bad. It was a long time ago. And I remember, and even like leading up to that, this is a crazy, crazy thing. Because ever since I was a kid, I was the dude that like my friends gravitated towards for that type of stuff. You know what I mean? For advice or feedback or whatever. And it's makes you feel good. And the more people tend to do that and rely on you, like I have several people in my life, who, while they're opening up to me, whatever, have said, you're the only person I can talk to about this. And that level of trust is huge. Naturally, I would never say their names, but for that very reason, they know, and I never have. Like they don't know each other exists. You know what I mean? All of those people don't know the other people exist. I would never, ever, there's just been people. And they're like, I literally can't talk to anybody else about this stuff. And I appreciate that, right? So you would think that my disposition would move into a space to where I'd be like, well, you know what? I'm doing something good, so I should rely on others. It just got worse. It was like the more people were relying on me was the more I felt like I can't do the same. I just can't ask for help. I don't know what that is, dude. And I decided one day, this is years ago, like before you and I even came back into each other's life. Things had gotten real bad. I decided I've got a friend of mine that I trust deeply, and I guess I'm gonna do it. This has to happen. I'm gonna do it. But I wasn't man enough to just like sit down with them and do it. So I had to type it up. And this is back when like
you did it on a typewriter?
No.
Bro. No.
And then I make a mistake, pull out the whiteout.
The whiteout. Oh man.
No, it was like basically like a chat room type thing. It wasn't a chat room, but it wasn't email. It wasn't that. It was like an IM session, right?
Probably AOL online.
Like maybe before that. Like, no, I'm sure that's first, but it was like that. It was that old.
Yeah.
I decided, you know what? This is as brave as I can get. I'm just going to do it here. And so I just talked about some stuff. It doesn't matter. I'm going to fast forward it. So I talked about a lot of things, and I felt so weird. And this story I'm about to tell you is completely true, because I'm not supposed to be doing this. That's what's going through my brain. I'm not supposed to be opening up like this. You're supposed to be there for others. You're not supposed to make them be there for you. And had I reached this guy before, he would have been like, dude, let's hang out. He's been a great dude. And I typed the whole thing, dude. And I read through the whole thing before I hit send. And I'm like, oh, I really don't want to hit enter. I don't want to do this, but this is what you got to do. And I hit enter, and enter went and crashed the machine. I'm not joking.
Whoa.
Like I hit enter and the whole machine crashed them all. Well, that's your sign. I'm like, you're not supposed to do this. And that was it. And I just bottled it up. Like after that, which is a very dumb thing.
Yeah.
But that's what it was. Like I was like, after all that, dude, like my dissertation on, yes, I'm going to need some help. As soon as I hit enter, crash. I'm all, what? I was like, what just happened? Oh, all right. But the weird thing, typing it made me feel better, but it was just this weird thing where I already felt weird.
Well, there's a lesson in there too. Just like even though that never reached it to the other person, just typing it out, just getting it out was at least some way of releasing that energy, releasing those thoughts. So that's good. But Yeah, I mean, talking about mental health, it's just like, going and seeing somebody, it's had some sort of stigma around it,
Mhm.
especially us growing up. It was like if somebody said, "Oh, they were going to see a therapist," it was like, "Whoa, what's wrong with
Yeah, what's
them?"
wrong with you?
Yeah, yeah. So I think, times have changed, and I think there's less of a stigma around it now. The way I like to think of it is like if you broke your arm, you go and you have to go to a doctor to get it fixed. I mean, you should anyway. Go get it fixed, otherwise you're
Yeah.
gonna you're gonna have problems for a while. But mental health, I look at it the same way. If you're having mental health issues, then you need to treat it like a broken arm, and you go see a licensed therapist, a doctor, or
Yep.
whatever. You know, and but it takes sucking up that pride and all those thoughts you have about like, what is this person going to think of me, or can you even face it? You know what I mean? Like I'm the same way. Like I'm the same way. I just struggle to open up to people about things that I feel are like a darkness inside or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you don't want people to see that side of you. You know what I mean? Like you think they're gonna think differently of you unless
Yeah.
and unless you got somebody like you can truly trust. Like I've come to you in the past. I'm one of the people that,
Mhm.
that you've probably had to take it and then you never reciprocate. But I'm here for you, brother.
I know you are,
If you ever
dude. I
want to
know.
actually,
I'm perfect. I'm perfect.
you can hit enter and you won't crash with me. So, but yeah, it is tough. It is tough asking for help, especially around subjects like that. Where you feel like you're putting yourself in a vulnerable spot, and a lot of people don't want to be judged.
Yeah.
That's tough to get past the idea that I might open up and then somebody thinks something of me that, and of course most of those thoughts are just self-imposed planted thoughts that are not actually going to be the reality of the situation. But yeah, I mean,
You're
I
right.
encourage you to treat it like a broken bone if you got stuff bottled up,
Oh, I'm perfect now, so I ain't got nothing to
Yeah,
worry
you're
about.
perfect. No issues in your life. But me too. Perfect. Everything's
Everything's panned out.
flawless.
Nothing's gone south lately. No, but what's interesting is you kind of raise a good point. Is asking for help is already difficult enough, and the deeper the problem, for some people, the harder it gets, the more they clam up. And this is a. I mean, we'll lighten it up after this, I suppose. But this is a hard one. This is a hard story, dude.
Mhm.
Is there was you knew him too. He he was a dude at our in our lives. I'll say that, a dude in our lives, and a great guy. And it's like you wouldn't imagine ever there'd be a problem. He's tall, thin, fit, good looking guy, gorgeous wife,
Super
3
funny.
gorgeous kids.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, just super funny, super kind, and just really easy to get along with. And just, boy, there was a shift. And I remember seeing it from a distance, and no, we weren't like best friends or anything, but we were way above acquaintances. We
Mhm.
were good friends. And I remember seeing a shift in him. And after like a week or so, I pulled him aside, and it was like weird, because I'm like, I'm gonna pry. I might end the friendship right now. You know what I mean? I'm willing to do that. I don't know if I feel like we've talked about this before, but I was just like, hey, what's going on? He's like, nothing. I'm like, well, something's going on, and he's like, no, nothing. I'm like, not gonna do you any good to lie to me. You know what I mean? It was like weird. I'm like, I'm not trying to pry here, dude. I'm not. But what you can do is say, yeah, things are going on, but I don't want to talk about it. You can say that.
Mhm.
And he's like, it's fine. And I'm like, dude, it's not. Like, I remember this. I'm like, it's not. It's not. I was like, I'm good at this. I'm good at this. You know what I mean? And I was like, I just, it doesn't have to be me, but something's going on. It's got to be somebody. You've got to. You can't leave this unchecked. It just, something was wrong, man. And I don't know. Maybe I wanted to respect his privacy or something. But after about 10 minutes, I was like, I'm being a little too pushy now. But I think I left it by saying, listen, man, maybe you're uncomfortable with me, but I'm telling you this. This cannot go unchecked. And it was like maybe a month later, he was gone. And
Yeah.
I was like, no. And it was bad. It was bad, And I remember being like, God, maybe I should have pushed harder. Like what, and I don't, believe me. Let me be clear. I don't blame myself for this. That's not
Good.
the situation. But I remember being at at his funeral, and it was, I mean, come on, there's the wife, there's the kids. I mean, this is get worse. I mean, it does, but this is really bad. And, you know, they got the big picture, you know, and of him. And I remember looking at it and being like, damn you. You know what I mean? Like being upset, like, was I supposed to be like even more pushy? Like, God, it just was so frustrating. So my point being that, you know, when you reach these times in your life, you cannot leave it unchecked. You can't do it.
Right.
And when you notice somebody's going through this, you gotta be pushy. You have to risk pissing them off. You have to risk the friendship. You got to risk it all. You risk it all just because, and get in there, mix it up. You know, 99 times out of 100, it's going to be fine, but there's going to be that one time that's going to imprint on you.
Yeah. Like we've lived.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good point. And yeah, it's tough. It's not easy.
No,
it's not easy to like, try to talk to somebody who's not willing to get help into getting help, you know, when they need it. You know, same as this. So it's hard to ask for help sometimes when you need it. So, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
It's worth it in the end to find that courage on either side, you know?
Yeah. On either side. That's a good way to put it. Either side. Yeah. Whether you're asking or whether you're willing to provide, and and it's good. It's important to say things like, listen, I don't deem myself qualified to do this. I know I have got a couple of ears on my head. I'm happy to listen. And
sometimes that's all it takes, right? Like you said, it release something when you just wrote it out, right? So even if you don't feel comfortable like hearing their thoughts and then like having something to help them with some advice or whatever, you know, not everybody's gonna have that like, oh, the fix, you know, oh, in your situation, just do this and you'll be fine. Like most likely not going to be the case. But them just being able to confide in you is usually going to be helpful. You know?
Yeah. Because they just seem you ever have somebody who they got a secret, they gotta just get off their chest, they gotta tell somebody. And
don't tell me, I'm a blabbermouth. Jeez, I can't keep secrets, save my life.
I don't know. I'm a secret keeper, dude. And that's what's funny is, and I always have the same speech when people are like, listen, can you keep a secret? They say that. And I always, same speech. I can absolutely keep a secret. But here's my disclaimer. If what you disclose to me leads me to believe that you or anybody else is in danger, your secret is not safe with me. And I always say that. Wow. I always say that. And they've never been like, okay, never mind. You know what I mean? It's always been like, they're like, no, it's fine.
I gotta tell you where I buried the body.
I know. The shovel, bro. Can I borrow your shovel? God, I got dark fast. But that level of trust has always brought them into a place to where they realize, oh, no, it's nothing like that. And then they do their thing and it's your secret safe with me. I mean, dude, here's what's funny. My box of other people's secrets is like so full. Like it is full. I don't care. I've never disclosed any of them. I never will. I have no interest in that. Like that.
As long as it's not some sort of burden for you to carry.
It's not. That's what I'm saying. If it was something like if there was danger involved or something to that effect, that would be a burden I'm not willing to carry. You know what I mean? So the answer is no. If you're in danger or what you're about to tell me means somebody else is in danger, then the answer is no. You know, but when it's, you know, anything else, it's usually something that can be talked through or whatever, and they just need some ears or whatever it is. But it's so funny because I think about the people who just can't keep people's secrets. And I'm like, I don't understand what the appeal is. I would be mortified if I let one of these secrets slip out.
No, I was half joking about not being able to keep a secret. Obviously, I
bet you're trustworthy.
Got some good ones on you, sir.
You got nothing on me, dude. Everything.
All right, that's it. Let's unleash them. So back in 19...
okay. Yo, you name that. No, I don't know, man. It's just the idea that trusting in another person, asking for help, trusting in another person it's a moment of vulnerability that we don't quite have the confidence to harbor. And I think that we just, like, as soon as you're able to do that, especially with you and I have a certain vulnerability with each other. And we've talked about this before. We've got a word. We've got one word where when we say this word, nothing else matters. And we use it so infrequently. If one of us says Houston, the other person, that whatever is behind the word Houston, it becomes a priority. You know what I mean? And my wife knows that too. And it's like so unbelievable. The last time you've had to say Houston, I don't even know what year it was, but you say Houston, it's like, all right, go. You know, what do you need? What is it? What's happening? So find yourself a friend like that. That's important too. But I don't know,
family, just anybody
family,
you can trust.
Yeah, that's a good catch right there. Yeah, anybody that you can trust that level, you just do that. But it'll never be easy though. For some reaon, man.
Yeah.
Like it's like
I think the one thing that people should maybe keep in mind, and we talked about it, was like, okay, so I brought up the McBean needing to have his dog washed. So maybe it was difficult for him. I don't know, but it would be for me to ask somebody to come over every day and take care of my dog, whatever. Knowing what he may have not known when he asked that was that I was actually going to really enjoy it.
Yeah,
like me taking that time to come over and do something for someone else, and his dog was just so happy to have somebody come by and give it some love and give it some of their time and some pets and all that stuff. I actually got a lot out of it. I got a lot of enjoyment in helping. So if you're struggling to ask somebody for help, maybe just assume that they're actually going to enjoy it, and you're not placing some burden on them that they're gonna resent you for or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, just
that was great.
Be like, hey, I'm asking for their time, but they might actually enjoy the time that they're giving me.
That's good. I really, really, really like that. That's a great way to look at it. Asking for help is already hard enough. Change your optics a little bit to realize we're almost going to be sort of kind of helping each other.
I'm doing you a favor.
Yeah.
I'm going to make you feel good about yourself.
I know. Yeah. Unload your problems on somebody and be like, you're welcome.
I'm gonna say you're welcome after you help me hang this TV.
Yeah. I like it. I like that a lot. I don't know. I'm somebody who I will fully admit that I need to definitely work on this. I encourage everybody to do this. I really do. I mean, we covered the whole gamut today, low to high, laughs and sadness, but I'm just, I don't know. I actually think I'm always going to struggle with this. You know what it is? I think, I don't know, dude. As it comes down to it, I trust almost nobody. Like, I really do. I think that's just me. And I want to be the person that anybody and everybody can trust, but for some reason I trust almost nobody. I don't know what that is. I have no reason to be that way, but I'm that way for some reason.
Trust is the whole topic on its own.
Yeah. But it's very much tied to this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you ask for help, you have to be able to, when you ask for help, you have to trust the fact that they're not judging the fact that you're asking for help. They're not going to be like, oh yes, now I got him in my pocket. Like, that's not, you have to trust that those things aren't going to happen, which is why you don't ask a stranger for help. It's why you don't, you know what I mean? Or somebody you just met, you don't go ask them for help. Or I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm saying it's why people have a propensity to not do that. You got to know them, and then you got to really know them, and then you got to really know them, and know, oh, they're very close.
Depending on the level,
Depending on the level, right?
Fall down and can't get up, then might ask.
Well, yeah. Can you imagine if like you met like my cousin for the first time? Like, I have a cousin, same like my cousin Brandon, for example. I'm just grabbing one of my cousins. You've never met him. Imagine if you met him and he's like, hey, it's nice to meet you. What are you doing next weekend? Can you help me move? You'd be like, what? You know what I mean? Like, that would be so weird. There's a certain proximity that you need to have before you can actually, ask for help or whatever. And even then, it's still hard. I mean, you're like my brother, and if I ever move again, I'm still would feel terrible. Be like, dude, you have a few hours, you come help me move some boxes.
Moving is a rough ask.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah,
it's third base for guys where they it's a thing. Like, you gotta really be good friends.
But at the end of the deal, you get usually beer and pizza out of it.
Yeah,
so there's a payoff.
It's not an even scale.
Not even close.
Moving sucks. So that's, I got nothing there, but hopefully.
So I guess bottom line is, asking for help is hard, but we're encouraging everyone to ask for help when they need it.
Yeah.
And maybe change optics a little bit if you can, and just realize that you may put more weight on the actual ask than there actually is.
Yes, agreed. 100% agreed. And I think, like, this is a good little challenge issue, is that in the next couple of weeks, there's going to be a moment that you're going to want some help on something, whether it's big or small. you're going to find yourself in an area to where I come on, ask for help. And you're going to realize your inclination is to not ask for help. Well, challenge that. Challenge that status quo. Go find the person that you know that you want to ask for help, and then observe how well it goes.
Yeah.
And you know what? It might not. I'm sure it will, but it might not. If it doesn't, you just got to be at peace with that.
Yeah. Let's look right at the people.
Hey.
Hopefully the camera's working this time. That's a challenge for you, everyone out there.
Yeah.
We don't typically acknowledge the center cam. But hopefully, that, because it shut off on us.
It broke last time.
Shut off on us in the middle of a recording last time. And I'm sitting here going, I brought attention to this. It better be working right now.
Not last time, 2 podcasts ago, it froze on us. And I think it's so funny because the editing was so nasty at the end because that was out. But hopefully you're working on me about it, just in case there's that camera.
I got you a new lens. Camera. You should be happy with me. Oh, man. Well, yeah, this one, we try to, have some fun, and we also try to address some serious topics in hopes that we reach people that and it's somewhat helpful in some way. And this one was a little bit heavier of a topic, but hopefully there's people it reaches at the right time.
Yep.
And give us your testimonies in the comments. Like, we love reading it.
Yep.
Or if this podcast was timely for you, and if you accept the challenge and you do actually do something where you ask for help where you wouldn't have if you hadn't listened to the podcast, please let us know in the comments.
Yep.
Because that's the kind of fuel that keeps us here every week.
Absolutely. And you are listening right now, realizing this is what I've been waiting to hear, and I'm going to go ahead and call this number. I'm going to reach out to so and so. Go do it. Yeah. Go do it, and watch how much life is better after.
All right, that's a good place to wrap this one up.
Yeah.
And it was fun.
Yep.
It was fun.
Good conversation. It's always fun. So that's good, and I'll see you next time.
See ya.